Hello, everyone. Today we are going to talk about an action fantasy film called Bright from 2017. A lot of interesting things are waiting for you. In the morning, police officer Daryl Ward resists his wife's request to deal with fairies who look like annoying mosquitoes or bees. The policeman has 5 years left before retirement, but now he faces a serious challenge: to become the partner of the world's first orc cop. But first he needs to deal with the fairy. After knocking her down with a broom, he brutally kills her in front of the neighbors. Daryl explains to his daughter as best he can that orcs are not stupid and that there are no better or worse races. That's when Nick Jacoby arrives. Daryl is very unhappy that the orc drove a police car right up to his house because everyone hates cops. In the car, Daryl scolds Nick for not backing him up when he ordered a burrito on patrol and was shot by the orc. Jacoby decides to go to the police station through Elfgrad, where elves, who represent the upper class, live. In the locker room, the other cops attack Daryl for tolerating his orc partner and not doing anything to get him kicked out of the police force. They suspect that Jacoby is covering for his own. The fact is that 2,000 years ago, orcs sided with the Dark Lord, and now they are villains or servants of the elves. While Jacoby is in the armory, Ward asks for another partner, but the sergeant won't listen. The orc has a postcard on his back that says, "Kick me," and everyone has a lot of fun with it. The partners patrol a ghetto inhabited by poor people and orc bandits. Unlike the other orcs, Jacoby's fangs are cut off, which means that he is not of pure blood and does not belong to any clan. After passing by the police officers who were beating a couple of orcs in front of their family and neighbors, they approached a sword-wielding madman. He said something about the return of the Dark Lord and then immediately gave up. In the car, the man suddenly speaks the language of orcs. He tells Jacoby to remember the traditions and that his partner is blessed. While Jacoby is dealing with the hooligans, detectives from the police department come to Daryl's house. They suspect that Jacoby deliberately let his tribesmen go. They force Ward to take a recorder and get a confession from his partner. In the car, the policeman started from a distance, but Jacoby sensed his partner's stress and asked him to tell what happened at the station. The awkward conversation was interrupted by a phone call. At the same time, a couple from the Magical Special Unit arrived at the police station to interrogate the troublemaker. He is a member of the Shield of Light secret society. It turns out that there are Inferno elves or renegade elves who want to bring back the Dark Lord. To resurrect him, you need to collect 3 magic wands. The leader of these elves is Layla. She is one of the few light ones, or in other words, wizards. Light ones are able to touch magic wands, others explode, and they are almost always elves. Among humans, the light ones are almost never found. Layla is looking for her sister Tika, so it is through her that the special agents will be able to find the criminal. Arriving at the scene, the partners immediately come under heavy fire, but they manage to eliminate the shooter. Upon entering the building, the orc smelled a strong odor of blood and occasionally saw burnt bodies. Immediately, the elf Tika tried to escape from them with a magic wand. When the wand worked, she easily destroyed the car. The reinforcements that arrived with the sergeant can't take their eyes off the wand because it can grant any wish, and they really intend to use it for their own purposes. In addition, they are going to kill the orc who is guarding the elf right now on the street. Daryl resists, but the cops threaten him with death. Ward leaves the room and uses the phone to warn his wife to get out of town with their daughter immediately. As he runs away, he starts calling his partner a pig and accusing him of letting the orc shooter go. At gunpoint, Jacoby admits that it was true. The only thing is that he just caught the wrong orc in the alley and therefore helped him escape. Otherwise, the cops would have just shot him. Meanwhile, the corrupt cops agree to take out both the cops and the elf. When the others came out into the yard, Daryl suddenly turned around and shot all 4 of them. The orc is about to arrest him but puts down his gun and simply reports the shooting. Immediately, they are approached by a gang of Mexican gangsters who have learned about the wand in their neighborhood and are going to take it away. The policemen run away and the gangsters shoot at the car, but the armored glass saves their partners. The Mexicans don't let them go so easily, and the car is rammed by a jeep with several gunmen with assault rifles. When the shotgun runs out of ammunition, Daryl immobilizes the jeep driver with a taser, and they finally get rid of their pursuers. But then a disobedient wand forced the car to stop in an emergency. The elf Layla arrives at the scene of the police shootout, finishes off the wounded, and then interrogates and sends the Mexican family to the next world. The orc explains that this happened to the car because of a binding spell, meaning that the wand cannot be far from its owner, so they must hide it somewhere nearby, and a real war can break out on the streets because of it. Soon the fugitives are caught up, and during a shootout, Nick kills a man for the first time in his life. One of the bandits grabs the fallen wand and immediately turns to dust. The pursuit continues, and Ward is wounded. Slowly, they make their way through the brothel, where orcs, humans, and other races mix. In the confusion, they lost Tika. Bandits burst into the crowd and a fight broke out. It turned out that Tika was hanging on the wall, and the trio, after consulting, left the place. The magic feds were also on their trail. The partners dressed in civilian clothes and entered the strip club, and the Mexicans smashed it up. The leader gave the fugitives an ultimatum and was about to shoot them, but then Layla and her thugs burst into the club. The elves destroyed the entire gang of Mexicans in a matter of seconds, and the same fate befell the arriving Special Forces unit. Our heroes managed to escape. Now it's time to heal their wounds. Jacoby complains that the orcs have always seen him more as a human being, and the humans as an animal, and both hate him. He is also sorry that he is no longer a policeman, but he has dreamed of it all his life. Ward called his old friend Sheriff Rodriguez for help, but when he arrived, he first pulled a gun on them and then called the feds. The elf special agent in charge answered the phone. Daryl offers him a magic wand in exchange for his acquittal. However, their conversation is interrupted by an inferno. Rodriguez handcuffs both of them and declares with certainty that the dead cops will be hung on Jacob, and at that moment, he is shot. The trio hides in a store, and the evil elves drive in by car. Orc withstands the stampede of the car quite well, and Tika comes to the aid of his partner. Thanks to their wit, our heroes manage to escape from the store. But immediately, they are surrounded by a pack of large orcs. Ward, in a very rude manner, asks Nick to tell the orcs to get out, but they understand human language perfectly and beat Daryl. All three are brought to the orc leader, Dorg. He boasts about how he has risen from the bottom and founded a community of orcs in Los Angeles. The orc asks where the magic wand is. The man and the orc are beaten, strangled, and stabbed, but they deny the existence of the wand. They are going to be shot and thrown into a deep pit as part of the rite of passage for Dorg's son. It turns out that this is the same young orc that Jacoby saved. The father lets him go, but still shoots Nick. Daryl was supposed to be the next to die, but suddenly Tika snatches the wand from his hands, says a spell, and uses it to bring Nick back to life. At the same time, the elf is so weak that she can't even walk on her own. Seeing the miracle with their own eyes, the orcs release the hostages. Only now the partners learned that Tika is bright. She told them that Layla had given the hired killer her wand so that he could kill her sister, but she failed and lost the wand. Tika hasn't learned how to use it yet, and the resurrection of the orc cost her a lot of money, and now she's dying. According to her, only the Shield of Light will help, and she needs to be returned to where it all began. In the car, the orc talks about his idol, a bloodless orc like him, who 2,000 years ago united all races in the fight against the Dark Lord. The heroes arrived at the scene, but Layla's minions were already hiding in the wall and initially attacked our comrades, but Jacoby became much stronger after coming back to life. That's why he first stabbed the bald man, then shot him and blew up the girl. Tika and Daryl broke Layla, and Jacoby shot her with a shotgun. Daryl dips the wounded elf into a magic pool, but Layla is much more resilient than her fighters. She hangs the orc, returns her wand, shoots Daryl, and throws her sister out of the pool. She persuades her to get back in. But then Jacoby intervenes and shoots off the fingers holding the wand. The wand falls next to Ward, and the man decides that if they are part of some prophecy, why not take a chance and picks up the wand, which immediately changes color. Daryl is indeed the chosen one. Tika tells him the spell, and he blows up Layla and half the building at the same time. Nick got out of the fire, but not finding his friend on the street, he immediately went back. The super orc showed his best side again. Even the fanged bandits noticed Nick, so they recognized him as the unicorn orc. The wand was seized by guys in special suits, and the friends are being treated under the supervision of guards. Only Daryl is in handcuffs. Ward asked the orc not to say anything to the feds, but he told them everything that happened to them, even though they didn't even ask him anything. But Daryl was much more diplomatic and precise in his conclusions, and most importantly, he thanked the feds for saving everyone. The police partners were awarded medals. Tika also came to the ceremony to see her hero friends. If you have watched the video so far, you should know that I'm happy to have viewers like you. Thank you for watching to the end. Subscribe to the channel and follow the news. OLEJA Recapped was with you. See you soon.